Um, Master, please reveal your true self to us. That's the title of the Shabd. And this is what we all want. We want to all know the true self of the Master. And like the Shabd, that amazing Shabd from Coke Studio this morning, and it says that to see the true form of the Master, the soul will become wonderstruck. Wonderstruck, and there is a word in Arabic that they use, hayran. Hayran means confused. Wonderstruck and confused is what will happen to the soul when it sees the inner true form of the Master. This is what was in the Shabd. This is what was in the Shabd. And we all come here to this holy circle of lovers to really lose ourselves in love, to be lost in love. And then when we lose ourselves in love, then everything else that is opposite of God is automatically lost. I was reading some poems from Sultan Bahu, and and he was saying that the ego has to go because the ego robs us from our way to God. But how can patients like us in the hospital of God lose their ego? We cannot do anything because God is the doer. God, Master is the one who heals us. So how can we get rid of the ego and all the other vices? It is through losing ourselves in love. We get lost in love. Once we get lost in the love of Master, lost in the love of God, then we lose all other things. So we are totally lost in love of God from head to toe. Every cell of our body is lost in the love of Master, in the love of God, and then automatically everything else will be lost. That is all obstructions, all veils, everything that holds us from God will be lost automatically. We don't have to do anything about it. Just be lost in the love of Master, be lost in the love of God, and then all other vices automatically will die. Sister Bhavani sent me a video yesterday from the Native American wisdom. And in the video, it was saying that we have two wolves, the dark wolf of the mind and the white wolf of God. And there is a war between these two wolves. And which wolf will win? And in the wisdom, the Native Americans will say, the wolf you feed will live, will win over the other wolf. And the wolf you don't feed directly will die. And this is the truth about spirituality, about the war of attrition between mind and soul, between God and mind, between love and mind. Mind is opposite of love. And that wolf is inside of us in this human body. It contains both wolves, the white wolf and the dark wolf. And us in spirituality, we want the white wolf to win. And once the dark wolf is totally annihilated, then oneness, union, wonderstruck will be lost in the wonderland of love. We will be lost in the wonderland of love, just enjoying day and night. The soul that loses itself in love is always joyous and always ecstatic, like the Shab, the Coke Studio Shab in the beginning said. So it is all about feeding which wolf we feed, which wolf we feed. And that's how easy it is to get rid of all our vices. It's just feed the white wolf inside of us. Concentrate on Master, concentrate on God, be lost in His love. Just make Master every moment of our life. Make Master every moment of our life. In this way, we are continuously feeding the white wolf. We are continuously feeding the white wolf, and the white wolf, which is soul, resembles the soul, then is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. And the dark wolf of the mind is becoming weaker and weaker and weaker. So this is the secret. This is the secret that the Wahi Guru of love, the Satpurush, does is that he really, when he pours, when we drink from his cup of love, we become wonderstruck, we become addicted. We want more and more and more from this cup of love. And we lose ourselves. We become mastanas for this to enter the tavern of love and really have a drink of love. Drink of love from the cup of love served to us from love, from Satpurush, from our highest self, from Ishwar, Sant Thakur, and Sant Kirpal, and Sant Ajayib within us. They serve us that cup of love in the tavern of love. So all of us come here not to teach each other anything, really. We're not here. Each one is complete and perfect within himself. All knowledge, all wisdom is within you. It cannot be had from books or satsangs or anything. All knowledge sprouts from within. So we come here not to teach each other, but we enter the tavern to witness the holy dance of the souls, the divine holy dance of the souls, where each soul is infected with love, and love is contagious. Love is contagious. Love by itself is all wisdom. Love by itself is everything. It is the Alpha, the Omega, and in between of the creation. Love itself nourishes and teaches and opens the way. So, really, really coming to satsang, we all come to satsang here. We bring the presence of love, the presence of the Master. We don't need to teach each other anything. That all what it takes is just the infection of love. We're all infected with this love. Every day, it's a different strain that we infect each other with. And then this love is really what teaches us, not the words, not the words, but the feeling of love, the enjoyment of love, the intoxication of love, the ecstasy of love, the bliss of love, the happiness of love. That is the real teacher. That is the real teacher. This is why the saints say 1 ounce of practice is worth tons and tons of theory. That really what will we get from reading about Hawaii? We can read about Hawaii, fantasize about Hawaii, but unless we go to Hawaii ourselves and we smell the air of Hawaii and we see the beautiful scenery and the beautiful ocean and the hills and the trees and the butterflies there, then we won't enjoy it as much. It will be just a thought, just a fantasy, just an imagination. But this imagination can become real when we have that practical experience of being there. And the same thing, love has to be experienced, love has to be lived. It has to be lived, it has to be grasped in the moment of love. In the moment of love, we drink from the cup of love. So, really, love does not need books, does not need anybody to say satsangs. I mean, all these stories, all these things, is just to stay together. It's just to be together in the presence of love. But it is really the presence of love that moves. When my master, my Holy Father, Sant Thakur Singh, millions and millions and millions of kisses to his feet, to every part of his body. My master, Sant Thakur Singh, when he used to give satsang in India, there would be like 300 or 400,000 people gathered. Imagine 300 or 400,000 people. He moved the crowds. When he moved the crowd, you could see the crowd. And I think I'll show videos how when he walked through the crowd like moved. Love moved. That love in my master, in my Holy Father, it is a true love. Why is it a true love? Because it had an effect. It had an effect on everybody there. It moved everybody. It moved the crowds. That power of love was present when he was present. That power of love, which is God, lifted the souls from the body and gave the souls all types of experiences, all types of experiences in the beyond. To be in the presence of my master Santakar Singh, just close your eyes and you will be lifted. We all experienced that immense, immense love. That satsang. What is satsang? If Baba Sawan Singh, they used to tell him, oh, Sant Kirpal is giving satsang, and Sant Kirpal is moving the crowds. There is a power inside Sant Kirpal that is moving the crowd, and it is the same like your power. And then Baba Sawan Singh just smiled and said, what is satsang without that power that unites? What is satsang without that power that brings us closer to Master? So real satsang, when it comes from somebody like Ishwar or somebody like Santakar Singh, it moves the crowd, it changes the crowd, it transforms the crowd. That love, that pure love collected the people. It collected 400,000 people, 300,000 people. It collected all these crowds, and all these crowds came. Everybody filled his cup. Everybody drank from the cup of love. Everybody was satisfied. Everybody was content. Everybody was satisfied and everybody was content. And everybody moved forward towards his true home or her true home. This is how love works. Love, it just automatically creates, it automatically arranges, it automatically feeds, it automatically nourishes, and it automatically feeds. It automatically teaches that love is complete in itself. That just some masters did not even have to open their mouths, and they were called the silent masters. Yet thousands of people gathered around them. One of them, I forgot his name, but he was in the Sufi literature, in the strain of the perfect masters that came from the Middle East. And in that collection of masters that came from the Middle East, one of them was known to be the silent master, that he will not say anything. He will just sit and close his eyes. And then all love, all wisdom, all good experiences, everything was poured on the people who attended. That really love did not need books, did not need words. It just needed the presence. It just needed the presence. The masters speak, they teach us only a small portion with the words, but really they are talking. Those small words that they say, they directly go to satisfy the mind, to satisfy the mind. But then there is over soul, soul of souls talking to our soul, that there is also direct soul to soul from the soul of master, which is the oversoul, the soul of creation, the soul of the creation, the heart of the universe, the core of the universe, talking to our individual soul, nourishing our soul, bringing our soul closer, freeing our soul from the quagmire of mind, from the quagmire of mind and intellect and body. It's freeing us. So when the master talks, he talks on many levels. One level is the level of the words that go directly to satisfy the mind, but the other level is going directly to the soul. My master Santakar Singh said that if you are in the presence of the master and you are just sleeping, then there is injections being infused by you from God, injections being infused by you from God, from that presence. And I remember so many people during Santakar's time, that holy time that I spent with him, they used to come to the ashram, and they used to, at that time, they paid a lot of karma, a lot of karma. And I remember one woman, and she used to come here to satsang, but she couldn't walk. She had like some back pain, and she crawled to satsang and just slept there, just slept there. My other friend, also the same thing. She was so sick, paying off her karma, that she went to satsang and she just laid down and slept, just in the presence of the master. she was also being nourished in the same way that the rest were being nourished, that the shepherds take care of all the sheep. No sheep is left starving. So to be in the presence of the Master, everybody gets something. Everybody gets something from love. That love leaves no one behind. Love leaves no one behind, and everybody gets that injection of love, whether they are sleeping, whether they are attending, or whether they are concentrating. Everybody gets something. But Master says, if we want to get the full effect of his presence, that always concentrate on his forehead, concentrate on his eyes. Oh, I used to take with me a binoculars when I used to go to Ishwarji, uh, to the community meeting. And the binocular, I used to put the binoculars and start looking at Ishwar. That way, I could feel him in my lap. That it will make him so close, and I would concentrate on his forehead and his eyes the whole satsang. I would carry the binoculars and try to just keep my eyes open and just get every second, every moment with Ishwarji. I used to do that. I used to do that. Maybe people laughed at me, but really, when in that hall that we used to sit in, it was like a theater um, at Harper College. And I used to sit in the middle and also have the binoculars and look at Master and feel him right there in my face. It was amazing. It was amazing experience. I am so glad I got and I bought those binoculars for this godly reason that I like to buy stuff. Oh, I'll buy. I love binoculars, but I'll get it for a godly purpose. I'll get it so I can look at Ishwar and put him much closer to me. Um, some people, the meditation during Santakar's time, there was the meditation children, and there were like about 3 or 4 thousand children who their parents gave to Master, and they were in an ashram, and they were called the meditation children, and they were all meditating all the time. Some of them, when Santakar used to come, they will refuse to open their eyes. They refuse to open their eyes, and the attendants there will come and scold them, Open your eyes and look at Master." And then they went and told the Master that some of the meditation children, they refuse to open their eyes when they see you. And Master said, "Please leave them alone. Leave them alone. They are seeing me inside." And one of the meditation children said, "I see Master much more clearly, much more beautifully, much more crisp and just vivid, like just like right there with my inner eye. I don't need to open my outer eye. My outer eye, when I open my eye, I lose that experience. I lose that. I want to keep my eyes closed." That's what one of the meditation children was saying. That really those children, because children are still like pure at heart. If you look at the children, when they are walking, they are dancing. They are dancing. Why are they dancing? Because part of them is still with God. Part of them is still in the land, the wonder-struck land of love. They are still lost in the love of God, and they are dancing. They are dancing when they're walking. So imagine those children that were meditating. Those children that were meditating. Some of them. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them were like really enjoying saintly type experiences that very few very few like ever reach that level, but they were experiencing that. They were experiencing that. Some were giving satsang. Some were giving satsang. I remember one of them, like 10 years or 11 years, he was giving satsang like a master. Like any master would give a satsang, this meditation boy was giving satsang because he was so in touch with God. He was so in touch with the inner master. The inner master was right in him. There were no and the children, like, they're not yet polluted. They're not yet polluted with mind and intellect, and all the rubbish of the negative world has not really touched them yet. So even though they had previous lives, but but some probably came from high regions and now not unpolluted yet and meditating all the time, then they are cleared up. Then the inner master in them comes up, and then they can do satsang. They can really Really miraculous things happened around these children, around these meditation children. Yeah, my master wanted to change the world. He wanted to bring up these children to become all God and kingdom of God, and change the world through these children. But then, he left the body, and after he left the body, then another power took over, and those meditation children are no more meditating. But because why? Because we live here in the region of the opposite power, and yeah, and but we could always influence our children, really. And how do we influence our children? By the way we live, by the way we live. That we don't have to really teach them anything, but we can be an example of somebody who is meditating regularly, someone who is being nourished by God and Master regularly, someone who is living according to the words of Master, and someone who is just on the path of love. If we just live a life like that in front of our children, we don't have to teach them anything because they observe. The children are like sponges. Really, they are like sponges, especially in the early age. They are like a sponge. Anything you tell them, they absorb it and they keep it. So imagine to live a life of a godly life in front of our children, then that brings them up, they absorb all that directly. Directly, they become spiritual. Directly, they get infected with the contagious love of God. And directly, they will want to lead their life in meditation because they saw that their parents are always happy. Their parents are enjoying. Their parents are vegetarian. Their parents are living according, their parents are fearless. Their parents are trusting. Their parents have faith in their master, in their teacher, and they will want to become like that. My master, Sant Singh, also used to say that the teaching starts when the baby is in the womb. And he used to tell us stories that really, if the woman is pregnant and the soul, Ishwarji said that the soul comes in the body. um, I forgot when, the fifth month or the fourth month. I forgot when, but the soul comes in the body, and then all learning starts. All learning starts from then. That's why there are parents who listen to holy music when they are pregnant. And really, that time of pregnancy, when the soul enters the body and it is in the womb, is all like a sponge absorbing that whatever the parents say, also the children inside the womb, here, inside the womb, here. My master Santakar Singh said that story about the Mahabharata, and how the baby, how the mom and the dad were talking how to break a vicious circle. There was a vicious circle. They used to have these circles. They circled the enemy. And once the enemy is circled, then there is a vicious circle. And then there is another circle and another circle that surrounds. And the father was telling the mom a story of how to break the vicious circle. Now, what happened is the baby was listening to the story inside the womb of the mother. And when the mom, while the dad was telling the story, she slept. When the dad saw her that she slept, he didn't continue the story. So when the boy was in the when the boy was born and he grew up and he was also surrounded by a vicious circle, he told the commanders in the Mahabharata that, listen, I know how to break part of the circle according to what my dad described, how to break the first circle and the second circle, but I don't know further because my mom slept and my dad stopped saying the story. This is how it is important that to even recognize that our children are like sponges and our children learn while they are still in the womb of the mother. That this is when spirituality also can start, when they are still in the womb, that the mother, the father can meditate. All that power of meditation, the power of love goes to the children while they are still in the womb, the babies, while they are still in the womb. They absorb that love And then if like music is played, then holy music can be played, like the holy music that we play from the Gurbani or holy spiritual singers, then that also affects them, that also teaches them. So yes, the nourishment of the children starts from the earliest age, and it keeps on after they are born, and then they keep absorbing, they are always watching the parents, what are the parents doing, and from that they learn. So really, if we want our children to be happy and to become godly, we have to live a godly lifestyle. We have to meditate regularly. We have to show them that we're not into the negative, we are not feeding the dark wolf of the mind. We are feeding the white wolf of the soul. If they observe us that we are feeding the dark wolf of the mind by watching TVs, by always in the news, by always movies, and always, you know how it is, to be disconnected from love, to be disconnected from God, and to put all our attention on the world, then what happens? Then we are feeding the dark wolf, and the dark wolf will really control the white wolf then. And then there is a slow progress. There is a slow progress, and we have to be reborn again. So when the children watch that we are feeding the white wolf of God, the white wolf of soul, then that affects their life. Then they can grow up into a spiritual life automatically, without any effort, because every moment was a learning moment, because God gave us a seva. God gave us a seva. He put those children among us for some reason, and our reason. The only seva we can do for our children, the best seva we can do for our children, is to teach our children how to become God, how to become the kingdom of God, how to be always happy, always in ecstasy, always joyous. As the beginning shabd from the Coke studio, it said, the person who is lost in love, the person who is wonderstruck with love, happiness, always happy and always joyful and always ecstatic. This is what happens to people who are lost in love. So to be lost in the love of God in front of our children without saying words, love will teach. Without saying any word, the love will be teaching. The love will be nourishing. And the love of God, that love of God is miraculous. When we are in touch, when we bring the presence of Master in our life in every moment. And there was a poem from Sultan Bahu, and he is saying, when we repeat the Simran, it shouldn't be just repetition of the Simran. It has to come from our heart. I will read that one. It has to come from our inner depth. It has to be repeated with passion. It has to be repeated with love. It has to be repeated with contemplation on the Master. That when we repeat, when we are driving and when we are repeating Simran, it's not just from the mind. It's not just like a moving the beads. It has to be with love from the depth of the heart. When it comes from the depth of the heart and it is done with love of the Master, then what happens? Then that Simran becomes living Simran. Then God starts to live in his names. In the repetition of the names, when it's done from the heart, when it's done with love, they say God lives in his Simran, God lives in the holy names. Yes, God lives in the holy names, but when we repeat them with love, with passion from within us, wow, then they become God Himself. Then God really is living in these words. When we add the love to those words, when we repeat those words from the heart, these words become so powerful. Where is that poem? Let me read that poem for you. Oh, here. That's from Sultan Bahu, from this book. And I just opened it in the morning. On a random page, and this is the page that came, and it says, repeat the name of God and always contemplate on him while doing your repetition, keener than a sword in such remembrance. You must sigh with grief and burn your heart in love before you can practice the name. Wow. The pain of separation. Add the pain of separation when you are chanting Waheguru or saying the five holy words of Simran. Just the pain of separation, that pain. The people who, like when I play the Waheguru in the morning, the first thing, that song, the Waheguru, I play it. Why? Because there is love in it. That those people who are singing Waheguru, 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 the Waheguru Simran, are doing it from the heart. I feel their heart. I feel the pain of separation. I feel they're begging to be with the Waheguru. The begging is there. The begging is in those words. That word, when they repeat it, it's complete because it has everything in it. It has the love for the Waheguru. It has the pain of separation, being separated from the Waheguru. It has the begging to be with the Waheguru. That's why it's a living word. It's a powerful word. That's real Simran. Real Simran, when as when Sultan Bahu says, you must sigh with grief and burn your heart in love. Burn your heart in the love of God. The burning heart. We can have a satsang, a full satsang about the burning heart, the flame of love, that flame of love inside of us, the thirsty fish that is yearning for the ocean, that flame of love that is yearning for the sun, its source, that flame of love that is yearning for the ocean of love, that's inside of our heart. When we burn that flame of love in our heart and repeat Simran, it becomes a different type of Simran. It opens the door. It opens the door. It knocks the door over. It knocks the door over. That obstacles that hold us from love, that obstacles of the mind, it knocks the mind. It knocks the mind, really. It kicks the mind in the butt and evicts the mind and brings the soul. That love, when done from the heart, opens the third eye center. It opens the secret door to God, and we enter into that thin, narrow way that leads to love. It needs a grieving heart. That's why we all come here, beggars and beggars and beggars. We beg for that love. We are in grief of separation from the ocean of love. We are in thirsty, we are so thirsty for the love of Master. Master gave us some of his love when we met him physically. He gave us love from inside, and we are mad after this love. We became mastanas of love. We want this love continuous. We don't want it to break even for 1 second. And this is what Sultan Bahu is saying. Before you can practice the name and resolve the mystery of love, if you contemplate on the beloved and do not even for a moment take your mind off him, you will truly remember. Struck by such contemplation, struck by such contemplation, no one can really live for the world. It digs out worldly attachments by the root. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so beautiful. This is so beautiful, the words of the masters. He is saying that love struck by such contemplation, when we meditate on Master, when we truly put our attention on Master and not even for a moment take our mind from him, then he is saying, struck by such contemplation, no one can really live for the world of the negative power. It digs out worldly attachments by the root. All our attachments for this world, one by one, will be dug by the root and thrown away to just wither and die. This is what happens. This is what love does. And you can witness it in your daily life. You can witness it. You can witness it as you progress spiritually, how Master just digs out from the root our attachments, and whatever we used to worship in this world and be so attached to, it's dug by the root. It goes away. It goes away as long as we don't feed it. As long as we don't feed it. It digs out worldly attachments by the root. Repeat the word of God, O Bahu. Repeat the word of God, O Bahu, and free yourself from the worries of life. Free yourself from the worries of life. That this is really the secret to living a worryless life is to repeat the word of God in any way, through the Simran, through singing, through Shabd, through contemplation, through satsang. Just keep the company of the master, your inner master. Keep your inner master. Keep feeding the inner master, the soul. Keep feeding the soul through remembrance of the inner master. When you remember the inner master, you bring the inner master to life. You bring him from the depth of the depth out. You bring love out. You dig for love. Just like when you dig in the land and you go deep, then what happens? Water comes up. That's how they dig for a well of water. They dig deep and then they find the water. Sometimes they don't have to dig so deep, water comes out. Why? Because that's the difference. You know, some people have so much karma, so much debt, so much debt. The digging has to go deep until the water is found, the water of life. Some has done that digging in the past lives, and now with a little digging, the water of life surfaces it. I remember when I was in the ashram in Florida, Sant ashram in Florida. Oh my God, over there, you dig a little bit in the land and water comes out. I'm like, oh my God, there is water under us. I think Florida was one time part of the ocean. And if you dig a little bit in Florida, like this much, you will reach water. Water will start coming out. It's like amazing. It's amazing. But yes, we will keep digging. We will keep digging until the water of love starts to sprout, until the water spring, I mean, the water of love inside of us will spring. We will continue digging, and we dig by repeating God's name. Every time we repeat God's name with passion, with grief, with love, then then we are digging more and more, going deeper and deeper and deeper. And at some point, the spring, the water of life is going to start gushing. The water of life is going to start gushing. It will quench our thirst. That is called union. That is called the marriage of the soul. The marriage. The soul becomes a bride. It's in union with God. It's married to God. It's drowned in the love of God. It's enjoying in God. And that's the life. We're all after that. We're all removing the obstacles every day. Every day we come here, we beg for this. We beg for this, really, that I am nothing. I don't know how. I just fill my cup, fill me, clean me, do everything to me. I don't know how to do anything. Really, we are like babies. Can a baby do anything? A baby cannot do anything. And us here, we are just the babies of Master. Master has to do everything for us. He has to do everything for us. We have to surrender in his love. Being a baby is a great thing because the baby is surrendered to the parents. The baby has surrendered to the parents. The baby trusts the parents. The parents do everything for the baby. Imagine ourselves as babies who don't know nothing. By imagining ourselves that we are babies and we know nothing, then we are surrendering totally to the master. If we think we know something, then that ego that robs us from the way to God comes. So really, think we are babies, think we are babies, and to think that we are babies in Master and God, that's the easiest thing, to let Him do everything for us. Really, to let Master do everything for us from A to Z is to totally surrender and to think that we are just babies. And I pray to be a baby in God every day. Please make me a baby. That way I keep that big ego that we all have away. I'm feeding humility by thinking that I am a baby in God, and I'm keeping that ego that robs me from God away. So yes, Master, please make us babies in your love, babies, and you do everything for us because babies cannot do anything for themselves. You do everything for us, Master, and that's the prayer for me, that I stay a baby in God, and for all of us here, that let's be babies in God, keep that thief away that robs us. Thank you, Master, for the seva. And I said to my sister, I'm gonna say a small story about flowers. And one time, you know how Master, there is Julia. She her seva was to put flowers next to Master every time he gave a talk. And I was in love with those pictures, with those flowers. I always went and snapped a picture in the break between when Master takes a break for lunch. I'll go and snap a picture of Baba Sawan Singh with the flowers.